Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala. Then we ended the other day with Dalil al-Khawf, the evidence for fear. And we'll start today inshallah with what Dalil al-Raja, the evidence for hope. Al-Raja here is hope. As we get to the synonyms for these words, meaning as for khawf, then there is khashya, and there is rahba, and then we get to raghba for raja. Then we'll explain the differences inshallah ta'ala. But for now, khawf is fear and raja is hope. وقوله تعالى فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا. This is the end of Surah Al-Kahf, where he says فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو, so whoever, and kana here yarju is hopes. فَمَنْ يَرْجُو, for whoever hopes. But here they always put it in the past tense for some reason. Whoever has hope, or whoever has hope, or whoever hopes. لِقَاءَ رَبِّهِ. Liqa is the meeting. A liqa, you look it up. Liqa, lam, qaf, ya, or alif maksura. Liqa. Liqa is a meeting. Whoever hopes for the meeting, Rabbihi, with his Lord. فَلْيَعْمَلْ. Fa is so, and then the lam is a lam of amr, meaning so let ya'mal, let him work, let him act, let him work amalan salihan, righteous deeds. That's why I said work, even though the word is act or perform or do. Then let him do righteous deeds, let him perform righteous deeds. Amalan salihan, wala yushrik, and not commit shirk, bi ibadati rabbihi, in the worship of his Lord, ahada, meaning don't let him associate in the worship of his Lord, ahada, anyone. Because this shirk here, as we said, it means to associate. Wala yushrik, and do not associate, bi ibadati rabbihi ahada, in the worship of his Lord, anyone. So this is the proof for Ar-Raja. And we should know most of these words, right? Amala, Salaha, Sharaka, Abada. You should know most of these, right? فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو. Raja, Yarju. Raja yarju, to have hope, right? Any questions about this short paragraph? Okay. No questions, Abdullah? Okay. Abu Tahir?
نعم. ودليل الرجاء قوله تعالى فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فيعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا.
نعم. زبير.
ودليل الرجاء قوله تعالى فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا.
نعم. والدليل التوكل قوله تعالى وعلى الله فلتوكلوا إن كنتم مؤمنين. وقوله ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه. وعلى الله والدليل التوكل. Tawakkul is, we'll say, reliance, placing your trust in them, in someone. You would look it up under wa kaf lam. They might be familiar for that from the masjid. You have to talk to the wakil of a sister, right? Someone who's been entrusted after the affairs of a woman to help her get married, right? The wakil, someone who's been entrusted. Tawakkul, another form of the verb, just meaning to have reliance and trust. قوله تعالى, his statement, the Most High, وعلى الله فتوكلوا, and upon Allah فتوكلوا, then place your trust. إن كنتم مؤمنين, if you are believers. On Allah or in Allah, place your trust if you are believers. إن كنتم مؤمنين, if you're believers. وقوله ومن يتوكل على الله, and whoever trusts on Allah, فهو حسبه, then he is sufficient for him. He is, that's the best word I can come up with for right now. Sufficient. دقيقة واحدة. He is sufficient, meaning he is, let's find it in the actual Quran, huh? Sorry about this. Where's it at? Anyway, let's see what it says here. Then he is enough. He is enough. That's how they translate it in the Quran, as enough. But sufficient. He is enough for him. He is sufficient for him. All of that is the same meaning, right? وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَتَوَكَّلُوا, and on Allah place your trust. إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. And we see that this is a command here, right? Tawakkalu, right? From tawakkaluna, because it's a command, it became majzoom, and therefore, right, we lost our noon. Fatawakkalu. So trust in your Lord, or and on Allah place your trust. In kuntum mu'minin, if you are indeed believers. Wa qawluhu, and his statement, وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. We see here this sukoon being there, right? Yatawakkal, because it's shart. It's a shart. And whoever trusts in Allah. So if you have this trust in Allah, then he is sufficient, right? Then he is enough. So it is, the verb here is majzoom because of the shart there. As we said, when something is a shart, then the verb becomes majzoom. It can even become, or it can even affect two verbs, right? It can even affect two verbs where both of them are majzoom. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Any questions about this? Again, these are all short ayat and mostly words we know. We've been covering. That's the point of repetition, is to questions? Go ahead and read for us, Abu Tahir.
ودليل التوكل قوله تعالى وعلى الله فتوكلوا إن كنتم مؤمنين وقوله ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه.
Zubair.
ودليل التوكل قوله تعالى وعلى الله فتوكلوا إن كنتم مؤمنين وقوله ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه.
Abdullah, you pulled over? والدليل الرغبة والرهبة والخشوع. الرغبة والرهبة والخشوع. Then we have رغبة, which is hope. And we already had raja. Rahba, which is fear. And we already had khawf. And khushu', then this is different. But down here we're going to have khashya, which is another type of fear. Ragba, which is raja. Right? And rahba, which is khawf. And khashya, which is khawf also. Right? The difference between them, and we can find this out when we read explanations of books, then they'll explain the differences of them. But the Arab, he could probably understand them, and maybe he doesn't because he just uses them changeably. But Ar-Raja, which is the first one we had, the Ar-Raja is to have hope for something. You're hoping to get something. That is Raja. Whereas Raghba is a hope to be close to someone. So a Raja could be, as an example, the hope for, say, paradise, right? Whereas a Raghba is going to be a hope to be close to Allah Azza wa Jal. So even though they're similar, they're different. A Raja is the hope for achieving something good, having something good, whereas a Raghba is more specific than that. It's actually wanting to be close to the one that they have hope for or from. So a Raja is the hope of something, and Raghba is more specific, meaning they want to be close to that person or thing that they're trying to get hope from, right? A-Rahba is, as we said, it is also khawf. And the foundation of it, if you look in the dictionary, it'll tell you that its origin is khawf, but it's more specific. Khawf is a fear of something. Whether that fear is of creation or the creator. And this is why it needs to be for Allah alone. But the khawf referred to in the word khawf is just a normal fear. And we'll get there in a second. Whereas rahba is more specific. It means that you will take action due to that fear. Means you will take action. So we'll give an example. And al-khawf is in the heart. The word khawf is in the heart, where rahba is in the limbs. So, can a person fear a lion? Yes, no problem. That fear, the khawf of a lion being out of its cage in front of you, that's not a problem. That does not contradict the fear of Allah, or being sincerely fearful of Allah. Rather, if you know that the lion is in the cage, you know the lock is locked, it's behind 6 inches of glass and 5 inches of steel bars, and you still fear it instead of fearing Allah. So you're scared to death of that lion, which is behind the cage, behind the glass, behind another cage, 600 feet away, then this is the problem. So when you talk about a person, which would make it more into the arena of ibadah, that a person is far away in another country, not able to see you, in another city, in another house, whatever, and you fear doing something for that person becoming mad at you. So those people who worship Sufi saints and stuff like this, they're fearful if they sin, or if they drop their book, or they call on another saint instead of the saint that they always go to, that their saint will be mad at them, as an example. This is something that's in the heart. Whereas rahbah is a fear which will cause you to run away and seek refuge, and is more specific. So this khawf which is in the heart, and the rahbah which is in the limbs. So maybe you fear that Sufi sheikh, but not only do you fear him, but instead you're going to go and do some type of action because you dropped his book. You're now going to do an action which you think will cancel it out. So you're going to slaughter a goat to him to tell him you're sorry that you dropped his book. Having fear is the one thing. That's the khawf. I think he might get mad at me, not answer my dua next time. But now you're going to do rahbah. You're going to slaughter an animal to try to combat that. So the khawf is in the heart, and the rahbah is in the limbs. And khashya down here, which we haven't really gotten to yet, khashya is fear based upon knowledge. And this can really only be for Allah Azza wa Jal. You could fear a lion, you could fear anything that jumped out of the corner at you, but khashya, this is fear based upon knowledge. You know, you don't have to have much knowledge of a lion. Rather, in fact, the more you know about a lion, the less scared you will probably become of it. You'll know that at first it might, oh, look how big his teeth are. I didn't know that. Oh, look how he can break a, I didn't know his jaw was at first. But then after a while, when you find out it's really just a cat, it's really just, you know, if you pet it, if you throw a piece of meat over there, it'll let you go. You know, you find out more, you become less scared. Whereas Allah Azza wa Jal, the more you find out about him, the more you become scared of him. In the same way, you become fearful of him. Not just scared, but I mean hopeful in him. The same way you learn about him, the more you become hopeful of him. And that's not. Usually when we become less scared, we become less hopeful, right? We the same thing. But here we have, as we build our fear with Allah, we build our hope in him as well, right? Right? As we become more hopeful from something, we lose our fear of it. That's what I wanted to say. As we become more hopeful of something, we lose our fear of it, because we say, oh, it's so nice. So like you lose that fear with the lion. Whereas with Allah, the more you hope in him, the more your fear builds in him as well. So we run, so Allah is the only one in life to run from to. So you got a lion here, right? You want to run away from it, you run to it. Whereas with Allah, when you want to run away from him, you run to him. When you want to run away from him, from what you fear he might prepare for you due to your actions or evil actions, then you run to him. You run away from him to him. So, والدليل الرغبة والرهبة والخشوع. قوله تعالى إنهم كانوا يسارعون في الخيرات ويدعوننا رغبا ورهبا وكانوا لنا خاشعين. Khushu' is humility. I didn't explain that maybe. Khushu' is humility. To humble yourself. Right? To humble yourself, to have humility. So the evidence is, innahum, verily they, kanu yusari'una, they used to race, from sara'a, right? To race. Sara'a yusari'u, to race, to go fast, right? Sara'a meaning to race, right? They used to go fast. They used to race fil khayrat, in good deeds. Khayrat, the plural of khayr, right? The one who did khayr, he did good. Khayrat, he did many good things. They used to race in doing good deeds, in performing good actions. وَيَدْعُونَنَا, and they would call on us رَغَبًا وَرَهَبًا, in hope and in fear. وَكَانُوا لَنَا خَاشِعِينَ, and they were to us, lana, to us, meaning to Allah, khashi'een, meaning those who had humility and were humble. Any questions about that? Let's read the next one first. I'm sorry. وَالدَّلِيلُ الْخَشْيَةِ, the evidence for this khashya, which is knowledge-based fear. قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَخْشَوْنِي. فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ, here, this is a la of a nahiya, a negation, or a nafiya rather, a nafiya, a prohibition. فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ, a prohibition which تَخْشَوْنَا, but because of the prohibition, we drop it, it becomes medzum. La takhshaw, normally we would add an alif, but because we added hum, we don't need our alif. La takhshawhum, do not fear them. Takhshawni, but fear me. And as we said, this noon should be with a, or could be with a ya here. Takhshawni, but sometimes it's written with the asra only, as we said, lakum dinukum waliyadeen. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, all of them in a regular noon, but they mean noon ya, right? Dini, ya'buduni, wakhshawni. Any questions?
Sara'a and Sari'a, you said one is to hurry and one is to race.
Yeah, Sara'a is to race, but the root even for Sara'a is from Sari'a, which is to race. I mean to go fast, right? To go fast. Okay. Sari', when something is sari', it's fast. Sara'a yasra'u, meaning he's going fast, whereas Sari'a is to like race and compete in it. You understand? Form 3. Form 3. Wayakum. Anything else? Abdullah. أين أنت الآن؟
توقف. أنا في مخزن.
ما شاء الله.
ودليل التوكل قوله تعالى وعلى الله فتوكلوا إن كنتم مؤمنين وقوله ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه ودليل الرغبة والرهبة وخشوع قوله تعالى إنهم كانوا يسارعون في الخيرات ويدعون خيرات ويدعوننا ورغبا ورهبا وكانوا لنا خاشعين ودليل الخشية قوله تعالى فلا تخشاهم واخشاني.
نعم. يلا يا زبير.
ودليل الرغبة والرهبة والخشوع قوله تعالى إنهم كانوا يسارعون في الخيرات ويدعوننا رغبا ورهبا وكانوا لنا خاشعين. ودليل الخشية قوله تعالى فلا تخشوهم واخشوني.
نعم يلا أبا طاهر.
ودليل الرغبة ورهبة وخشوع قوله تعالى إنهم كانوا يصارعون في الخيرات ويدعوننا رغبة ورهبة وكانوا لنا خاشعين. ودليل خشية قوله تعالى فلا تخشوهم واخشوني.
I'm not sure if you know, sometimes the I don't know why the video, like, I mean the audio cuts off, maybe because this is how, you know, we're traveling, it's traveling through thousands of miles of sound. But it sounded like you said ragba with a sukoon on the ha and the ghain. But ragaba wa rahaba. Ragba wa rahba would be the noun. Wa ragaba wa rahaba is the verb. Just to make sure. You might have said it right, but I didn't hear it right because of the distance. Because earlier you said something and you read here, and then the next thing I heard was khashi'in. I know you probably said that word in between there, but I just didn't hear it due to the way sound traveled. But just to make sure that this is ragaba wa rahaba. Muharram.
نعم.
ودليل الرغبة والرهبة والخشوع قوله تعالى إنهم كانوا يسارعون في الخيرات ويدعوننا رغبا ورهبا وكانوا لنا خاشعين. ودليل الخشية قوله تعالى فلا تخشوهم واخشون.
نعم الله يبارك فيكم.
So that the raghba, the raghba is with a fatah.
Here it is. Here
Oh,
inside
okay.
the ayah is raghaba wa rahaba. Up
Okay.
above the actual noun for it, fear and hope,
Okay.
or hope and
All right.
fear.
I got it. I thought you were talking about up there. Okay, I wasn't paying attention.
Right. والدليل النظر. والدليل النظر. The evidence for the swearing, right? When we say wallahi, you know, in America we say I swear by my kid's grave, I swear by my mother's grave, I swear by whatever, I swear by other than Allah. قوله تعالى يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا.
You skipped a page.
Did I?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I hit my button and it just must have went down. I apologize. والدليل الإنابة. والدليل الإنابة. Inaba comes from Nawaba, and it comes with the meaning of to turn to something. Here, al-inaba is to turn to Allah, meaning in repentance. In repentance. Al-inaba, to turn to Allah in repentance. قوله تعالى وأنيبوا إلى ربكم وأسلموا له. وأنيبوا, meaning command here, and turn to your Lord in repentance. وَأَسْلِمُوا لَهُ, and submit to him. وَأَسْلِمُوا لَهُ, again a command. أَسْلِمُوا. وَأَسْلِمُوا لَهُ, and submit to him. Any questions?
No.
وَالدَّلِيلُ الْإِسْتِعَانَةِ. Al-isti'ana comes from the word or the root awana, right? Aun, right? Aun, we know this إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. Isti'ana, nasta'in. Same word, same root. Right? Form 10, right? Of awana, right? Meaning to seek help, to seek assistance and aid. إياك نعبد, you alone we worship. وإياك نستعين, and on you we ask for help or seek help, seek aid, seek assistance, however they translate it. قوله تعالى is a statement the Most High. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. You alone we worship and you alone we seek help. وفي الحديث إذا استعنت فاستعن بالله. استعنت, استعنا, استعنت, استعنت. If you seek help, right? استعنت, if you seek help. فاستعن بالله, then seek help in Allah. If or when you seek help, then seek help in Allah. فاستعن is the command. فاستعن بالله, then seek help in Allah. إذا استعنت, you seek help. فاستعن بالله, seek help in Allah. Any questions?
Yes.
Tafadhal.
You said nawaba or awana. Both of those wow have shadda on them.
No. Nawaba wa auna. Awana, no.
Okay, jazakallah khair.
Number one, if you look up this, nawaba, the actual verb for this is form 4, which is anaba yanibu. Anaba yunibu. Anaba, anaba yunibu. If I wrote that right. Yunibu. Right? Anaba yunibu. And then this is form 10. Right? Ista'ana yasta'inu. Ista'ana yasta'inu. Hakada. But you would, in the original root, it's not going to have a doubled letter anyway. In the original root, like awana and nawaba, it's not going to have a shadda in the original form 1.
Okay.
Okay. والدليل الاستعاذة. الاستعاذة from عوذ. Ain, waw, thou. Awada. Meaning to seek refuge. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. A'udhu. We know this word, adha, al-isti'adha, meaning form 10, to seek refuge. We have this word, aun, come from awana, but aun is help. Isti'ana is form 10. We said this scene in this ta here means to seek something most of the time, right? So we're seeking aun, al-isti'aun, isti'ana, right? A'udhu, seeking iwad, seeking iwad. Iwad is refuge. Isti'adha, seeking refuge. قوله تعالى قل أعوذ برب الفلق وقل أعوذ برب الناس. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the daybreak, and I seek refuge in the Lord of mankind. Any questions? Scroll down here. It says some of this stuff is going to get real easy, right? Al-istighatha, al-ghawth. Al-ghawth is a type of seeking help as well. Al-ghawth is a type of seeking help as well. If you give me a second, then I will find out the exact shade of it in just 1 second. Sorry, 1 second. It's the, Al-istighatha. It's not only seeking, let me see, that's not clear. It says seeking help and victory during times of difficulty. But some of these things are not going to be so clear until you read a bunch of examples regarding it, right? But it says to seek help and victory at the time of difficulty, and it's more specific than dua, because dua can be at any time, right? When you seek help for anything, like you seek help in making salat, you seek help in because without Allah's help, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, we can't answer the call to the adhan. We can't make salat without Allah's help. We can't. This isti'ana is to seek help at any time. Isti'ana above is to seek help at any time for all acts of worship. Iyyaka na'budu, we worship you alone. Wa iyyaka nasta'in, and we seek your help. We seek your assistance. And they talk many times why is ibadah mentioned and then isti'ana mentioned after it, when isti'ana is a type of worship, because we're asking for this type of worship to do our other types of worship, right? If Allah doesn't give you victory and give you isti'ana, then you can't even seek isti'ana. You can't even seek aun. If Allah doesn't give you the ability, how many people know they need help, yet they still don't call on Allah? So Allah gave you the ability to even know that you need to ask for help, and then He gave you the ability to ask for it. So aun is at any time. Aun is at any time, or istighatha is at times of difficulty. So that's where it's more specific at, right? So the isti'ana is to seek aid and assistance even for our acts of worship, even for between our families, to make our families get along and prosper, and our kids do good and memorize. Whereas istighatha is during times of difficulty. وَقَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى is ghawth, is help or assistance. Istighatha is to seek it, right? Istighatha is to seek this ghawth. Just like isti'adha is to seek awad, and isti'adha is to seek aun. قوله تعالى إذا إذ تستغيثون ربكم فاستجاب لكم. If is here, tastaghithuna, you seek, or when, it can be when, is tastaghithuna, you seek help, rabbakum, from your Lord, or the help of your Lord, however, fastajaba lakum, then He will answer you, right? Then He will answer you. Fastajaba from jawaba, meaning to answer, right? Fastajaba lakum, then He will answer you, right? Let's find the ayat itself, and then we'll read its translation. Surah Al-Anfal, ayat 9. Remember when you sought refuge, or when you seek refuge of your Lord, and He answers you, right? And He answered you. So basically same thing. And when you seek refuge, because is when you seek refuge of your Lord, He answered you. Okay. Any questions about al-istighatha?
لا.
والدليل الذبح قوله تعالى قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له ومن السنة لعن الله من ذبح لغير الله. The dalil for dhabh, which is sacrifice, or not sacrifice, I'm sorry, it's udhiyah. The word for udhiyah is sacrifice. Dhabh is slaughtering. Right? Slaughtering. Qawluhu ta'ala. And we had this the very first naqid of Islam, right? Qul inna salati. Say, my salat. Salati, my salat. Wa nusuki, and my slaughtering. Nusuk is going to be slaughtering as well. It's just a different word, a synonym for it, we'll say. Wa mahyaya, and my life. From hayya. Right? Hay. That's the root. Hay. Mahyaya, meaning my life. Wa mamati, and my death. Mamati, my death. Lillahi Rabbil Alameen. Is for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. La sharika lah. He has no partners. Right? La sharika lahu. He has no partners. Wa min as-sunnah, and from the sunnah, la'ana Allahu. La'ana is curse. Right? Curse, to ask for damnation. Right? La'ana. La'ana Allah, the damnation of Allah, the curse of Allah. Man dhabaha li ghayrillah, is on the one who slaughters for other than Allah. Dhabaha, he slaughters, li, for ghayrillah, other than Allah. So the word is nusuk here. Nusuk with the same meaning of dhabaha. Any questions? We get from this word manasik. Right? From nusuk we get manasik, like Hajj rites or Hajj rites. Right? The rituals of Hajj. Right? One of the main ones is slaughtering. Right? After Hajj. So it's from the same word. It means to, nasaka means to devote, right? Or to live a pious and devout life, right? So the nusuk here is going to be it might have more of a meaning here of the actual ritual, which would be sacrifice, which would be udhiyah. It might have it, but in order to do the udhiyah, you have to slaughter, right? Nusuk, nasuk, it has more of the meaning because we have the Hajj rites, manasik, you know, then the nusuk here is more of the ritual part of it, whereas dhabaha, the Christians, they slaughter their meat. Even the Buddhists are not Buddhists because they might not eat meat, I don't know, but the other people who are not Jews and Christians, when they cut their chickens' necks or their goats' necks or whatever they do, that's dhabah. That's to slaughter it when they cut it, right? Even if they don't do it for religious reasons, they just do it for purely food reasons, right? It's not udhiyah, like when we slaughter because we're hungry, man. I want to get some fresh goat. It's not Hajj time, it's not Ramadan time. I just want to get good halal goat. This is dhabah, and it doesn't have the udhiyah, right? It doesn't have the udhiyah. I'm not sacrificing anything, right? Not doing any ritual. I'm just eating. So nusuk has that meaning of the udhiyah, but in order to do so, you must have dhabah, and so therefore, that's the relation, inshallah ta'ala. Any questions? Go ahead. Yeah, Abu Tahir, read that page for us.
ودليل إنابة قوله تعالى وأنيبوا إلى ربكم وأسلموا له. ودليل استعانة قوله تعالى إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. وفي الحديث إذا استعنت فاستعن بالله. ودليل استعاذة قوله تعالى قل أعوذ برب الفلق وقل أعوذ برب الناس. ودليل الاستغاثة قوله تعالى إذ تستغيثون ربكم فاستجاب لكم ودليل الذبح قوله تعالى قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له ومن السنة لأن الله من ذبح لغير الله ودليل النظر قوله تعالى.
We didn't really get that yet. We'll do that. We'll finish that in a second, inshallah. Abdullah, yallah.
ودليل الإنابة قوله تعالى وأنيبوا إلى ربكم وأسلموا له ودليل الاستعانة قوله تعالى إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين وفي الحديث استعنت فاستعين بالله ودليل
Stain. It's short. إذا استعنت استعن بالله.
استعنت. Now what did you say?
I said fa just from me talking, but إذا استعنت فاستعن بالله.
فاستعنت. Okay. فاستعن بالله. ودليل استعنت قوله تعالى قل أعوذ برب الفلق وقل أعوذ برب الناس ودليل الاستغاثة قوله تعالى إذ تستغيثون ربكم فاستجاب لكم ودليل الثبت قوله تعالى قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له ومن السنة لأن له من ذبح لغير الله.
Yalla ya Zubair or Muharram, when y'all open your mic for us. Zubair.
Can you hear me?
Naam.
ودليل إنابة قوله تعالى وأنيبوا إلى ربكم وأسلموا له ودليل الاستعانة قوله تعالى إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين وفي الحديث إذا استعنت فاستعن بالله ودليل الاستعاذة قوله تعالى قل أعوذ برب الفلق وقل أعوذ برب الناس ودليل استغاثة قوله تعالى إذ تستغيثون ربكم فاستجاب لكم ودليل الذبح قوله تعالى قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له ومن السنة لعن الله من ذبح لغير الله.
Yalla ya Muharram.
ودليل الإنابة قوله تعالى وأنيبوا إلى ربكم وأسلموا له ودليل الاستعانة قوله تعالى إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين وفي الحديث إذا استعنت فاستعن بالله ودليل الاستعاذة قوله تعالى قل أعوذ برب الفلق قل أعوذ برب الناس ودليل الاستغاثة قوله تعالى إذ تستغيثون ربكم فاستجاب لكم ودليل الذبح قوله تعالى قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له ومن السنة لعن الله من ذبح لغير الله.
I messed up a little earlier when I said the curse of Allah. Here is Allah curses. La'ana is a fi'l, and Allah, lafzul jalala here is the fa'il. So Allah curses the one who slaughters for other than Allah. The same meaning, but better Arabic translation, inshallah. Then the last one in this section, which is the belief in Allah, or the who is your Lord, man rabbuk, faqul rabbi Allah. Then this section will go to the religion of Islam. Then this first section, which is the last one, based on Allah. What dalil another, as we said, to swear, right? Allah is the statement of the Most High. Yufuna bin nadhri wa yakhafuna yawman kana sharruhu mustatira. Yufuna from wafa, meaning to fulfill. To fulfill. Yufuna, meaning they fulfill bin nadhr, their oaths, their swearing. Right? When they make an oath or a swear, then they fulfill it. Like, I swear I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They fulfill it. If you let my daughter get cured, I will, whatever. Then you fulfill that. I will make umrah, or I will slaughter 3 animals, whatever. Then you fulfill it. Yufuna bin nadhr. They fulfill their oaths. وَيَخَافُونَ يَوْمٍ كَانَ شَرُّهُ مُسْتَطِيرًا. And they fear, yakhafuna from khawf, khafa yakhufu, khafa yakhaf, khafa yakhafu, khafa yakhafu. Right? They fear yawmin, they fear a day, kana sharruhu, that it's evil. Sharruhu. Sharruhu. Again, this kana here is in the past tense, but it's talking about the day of judgment, right? Kana sharruhu mustatira from tayara. Tayara. And we know this word to be tayr, but we also know it to be ta'ira, which is plane, right? Ta'ira, matar, which is the airport, right? Tayr here means spread out and all over the place, because that's kind of like what a bird does. It goes all over, right? Mustatira, meaning it goes all over, right? The shar is everywhere. They fear a day when the shar will be widespread. Will be widespread. When a bird flies, its wings are wide open, right? So doesn't fly with its wings closed in. It flies with them. Even when it coasts, it flies with them spread open. Mustatira here meaning spread out, widespread. They fear a day when the evil will be widespread. Yufuna bin nadhr, they fulfill their oaths. Wa yakhafuna yawman, and they fear the day or a day, kana sharruhu mustatira, then when its evil will be widespread. Any questions? Go ahead and read, Abdullah.
What دليل النثر قوله تعالى يوفون بالنثر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا.
يلا أبو طاهر.
ودليل النذر قوله تعالى يفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا.
Muharram or Zubair, you're open. Go ahead.
ودليل النذر قوله تعالى يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا.
محرم.
ودليل النذر قوله تعالى يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا.
We finished 1/3 of the book as far as topic wise. It's about half of the book text wise, but 1/3 of the book topic wise. Barakallahu feekum. Inshallah ta'ala. We'll meet tomorrow to start on Madinuk. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.